Hi guys, my name is David and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be discussing all the books that I read for January of this brand new year. I don't want to do a super long video, so I will try to keep this as short as I possibly can. This month was a really good way to start off the brand new year. As well, as book readers, we feel that we have to kind of make a big impact on the first month. Kind of like, yeah, starting off a race, we need to, we feel that we need to read a good amount of books to start off the year. And that was the same for me. I read 8 books altogether. I wanted to read 10 books, but I feel that 8 is a good amount. None of these books were particularly long. They were very short or fairly short reads, and I felt that this month was kind of a it kind of left me thinking that I want to read more. I want to read more, rather than slowing down with my reading and focusing on bigger books. I felt that it was I felt that I wanted to focus more on smaller books to get the months, the year started off with a bang, I guess. But in February, I've kind of slowed down a little bit and haven't really been afraid to read bigger books. But I want to kind of have a slower month this month with reading, um, probably aiming for about 4 or 5 books. If I can get to 4 books, then that's really good. I just want to have a slower reading month. Well, in January, this is what I read. If I have any videos, I will tell you, and I will, if I can remember, I'll link them down below as well. So the first thing I read was a book from a small unknown author, and this was called There Will Never Be a Rainbow by Rod Gilly. This is Rod's second book, and he did send me a free copy for a honest review, and this is a short story horror collection. As all short story collections are, all the stories aren't equal. Some of them are better than others. I think there was only about 2, maybe 3 stories that I didn't care much for, but overall it was a good read and a good way to start off the year. There Will Never Be a Rainbow, I did a whole video on it. I rated that one a 4 stars. Ratings out of 5 stars if you wanted to know. Next was a book by my fast becoming favourite horror writer, and that is Ralph James White. I read a very, very, very short story collection by him called Sloppy Seconds. I can't show the cover because it isn't very explicit or horrific, but I feel that it does portray body parts and guts and stuff that I can't show on the internet, or that I feel that I can't. This was a very decent book by Raf. It wasn't the best and it wasn't the worst. It was kind of a satisfying, middle of the road book by him. All the stories were very, very imaginative. It kind of had the kind of feel that Raf puts in his stories, because I feel that he's a very romantic guy, and he does incorporate romance and attraction and love within his stories. They're just a bit different, that's all. I want to kind of make a video on Ralph James White, solely on him, soon, so not sure how that will go, but I will give it my best shot. Anyway, Sloppy Seconds, if you've read anything by Ralph James White, because right now I've read 5 books by him, it's a decent book, but not one of my favourites, but not one of my worst. It's middle of the road. So anyway, I rated that one a 3.5 stars. Also, I've done a video on Sloppy Seconds, so yeah, that's that. Next I read was the first 4 volumes of Heartstopper, which is a graphic, which is a graphic novel series. I found this one. I found all 4 volumes outside of a second-hand bookshop or a charity shop or a thrift shop that was shutting down, and I found them outside, and the shop wasn't gonna, and the shop wasn't gonna open. So if I left them there, yes, somebody might have taken them. Yeah, else, yes, someone else might have taken them, but they could have been left out there, and it could have rained. They could have got wet. They could have been attacked by foxes and completely destroyed. So I felt that I wanted to actually take them because I read volume 1 last year, loved it. Didn't really read volume 2 because my library continuously didn't have it, so I kind of moved on from it. So I read all 4 of these volumes really quickly. If I was to guess, probably in about a week or just over a week. They're really, really quick reads. Heartstopper is a series about, well, it's a series about these 2 guys that get into a queer relationship with each other. One of them's a openly gay guy, and one of them, and when he kind of gets attracted to one of his classmates who he suspects of being straight, they kind of discover that they have feelings towards each other. It's a very sweet and honest and loving book, and it's it's proof that we shouldn't read within our bubble. We shouldn't read just the genres that we like and dismiss everything else, because stuff like this will come along for us all and surprise us. Despite if we just like reading horror, despite whether we just like reading horror or fantasy or sci-fi and that's it, we don't read anything else, there will be books that come along that are from authors or are about genres that we would never have picked up before, and that completely surprised us. And this was, for me, with Heartstopper, it completely surprised me. I never imagined that I would like it as much as I did. This has happened with a couple more books as well, called Mice and Men and The Catcher in the Rye. Stuff that I would have never have read before, but I did, and I ended up really enjoying them. So the first 3 volumes, 1, 2 and 3, I rated 5 stars, and volume 4 I rated 4 stars because it was still good, but I didn't like it as much as the first 3. I did a whole video on kind of a overall discussion about Heartstopper and the first 4 volumes, all spoiler free as well, guys. I don't do spoiler videos unless I put it in the title of the video. But in that video, I did say that I would be holding on to the Heartstopper books and reading them at least once more before deciding what I wanted to actually do with them. But I've decided to pass them on to somebody else, to take them to a charity shop and someone else can enjoy them. If I come across them again in my travels, yes, I will pick them up and I will read them with pleasure, and I will gladly read them again. But right now they have satisfied my desire to read them, and I feel that there's no reason for me to hold on to them when I know that I can give them to somebody else and someone else can can enjoy them as well. And if I really wanted to read them desperately again, I know that my library supplies them, so I can always check them out there. I know that there's a 5th volume. My library probably has it. But I'm in no rush to read that one. So the next thing I read was His Pain by Ralph James White. I did a whole video on this. It was kind of a double feature with that and Sloppy Seconds. His Pain is a very famous and popular book by Ralph. This is about a young boy who, since his birth, has known nothing but pain. His body hurts all the time. Every time he sees something, his eyes hurt. Every time someone speaks to him, he actually is in pain. No one can touch him, and he's completely isolated within his. Within himself and his house. His parents try to do their best for him, both equally. Both in their own unique way. And his mother one day discovers that there's a man that can, or alleges that he can cure somebody that is suffering an extreme amount of pain. That's as far as I want to go with that. If you are a fan of Ralph's writing style and books, then His Pain is one that should be at near the top of your list. As I've said, I've read 5 books by him, and His Pain is probably my current second book by him. My first place being the first thing that I ever read by the guy, which was Succulent Prey, which I am going to be rereading because I've got the sequel. But His Pain is a really good book. When you do read it, if and when you do, the first half is kind of not really horrific or disgusting. If you've read anything by Ralph, then you know what I'm talking about. But have no worries. The second half is when the gates of hell open up and all hell breaks loose. So I'm not sure if I've said, but I rated His Pain 4 stars. And the last thing that I've read was another book by Ralph. As you can see, I've had a kind of a Ralph James White reading month for this year, or for the first month of the year. Isn't so bad. I just really love this author, and I can't wait to read something else by him. I have something that I'm planning to read really soon by him, so I've got my next book that I want to read by him in mind, so I can't wait for that. It's really short, although I can't wait to read some of his other full-length novels, which I have. But this one is called Hardcore Kelly. I haven't done a video on this one yet. I was kind of debating whether I should or shouldn't do, because the story is very simplistic. It is Ralph's attempt about doing a superhero story, kind of like in the vein of DC or Marvel. This is about a woman called Katie, who is a boxer who is kind of down on her luck. She's lost several fights, and after losing her recent fight, she moves back to her family home where she interacts with her sister Samantha, who wants her sister to take her trick-or-treating because it's the spooky time of the year. And when Katie kind of decides about or chooses what costume to wear, her sister recommends that she wear a costume from a superhero called Hardcore Kelly, who is kind of a cross between Deadpool and Wolverine. She's an anti-hero who kills people with an axe in very gory ways, but she can regenerate, not as quickly as Wolverine, but she can regenerate slowly, within time. Not sure if she's immortal, she probably isn't. And then throughout the story, Katie kind of loses herself with this character because she has all this trauma from her past where she was abused, and she's kind of hidden it deep within herself, and all that anger and frustration that she had through this traumatic time in her life, or times in her life, because it's happened several times. She kind of focuses the fictional villains of this fictional superhero to real life people that hurt her in the past. And when she goes out to confront these individuals, which she attaches all this trauma to them, then my word, they are shown no mercy. This is the first book by Raph that has got illustrations in it. Not too much, probably about 5 or 6. This is probably the tamest thing that I've read by Raph. If you are trying to get into his writing or his books, then yeah, sure, you could start off with this one. It's a very easy place to start off with Raph's writing and his stories, if you're trying to get into this author. But for me, it's kind of like the equivalent to going to a swimming pool and going to the kind of shallow, kiddie ends of the pool first. If you're trying to get into Raph, then I would start off with something like maybe his pain, something a bit more outrageous, something that's like more him, which is like the equivalent for me about throwing someone at the deep end without any safety, equipment. And then when you've read several books by Raph, then I would probably go on to Hardcore Kelly if you want to read some other stuff by this author. But if you are a fan of Raph's writing style, this one is a good one, but don't really be in a mad rush to get it. Like saying, I need to get this book. If you are a collector of his work, which I am, then yeah, sure, by all means buy this book. But in my mind, Hardcore Kelly isn't extreme horror, it's just horror. Yes, there is some kind of extreme horror-ish things about this story, but this one for me isn't extreme horror, it's just horror with, I guess, slight extreme horror vibes to it. This one is probably my least favourite Raph book, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. But it was just but at this moment in time, it's at the bottom of my list. So with that said, I rated that one a 3.5 stars. So that's been my video, guys. Gone on for a bit longer than I would have liked to. Yeah. Let me know, what did you think about this video? I know wrap-ups tend to do very well for me and my channel. Not sure why. Maybe people would like to know what I'm reading or what I did read. But this one was a kind of a mixed bag. I read something from an unknown author. I read a surprising book series, or most of a book series. And I read 3 books by my favourite horror writer. So let me know, have you read any of these books? Do any of these books sound appealing to you? As I said, if I've done any videos on these books separately, I will link them down below, so they'll be down there if you so wish to watch them. But with that said, thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.